Hey, beautiful. I am so glad that you're here. Welcome to Inside the Apothecary, a space for real conversations about hormones, fertility, and the body. This is where we learn to understand the body, not fight it. Wherever you are in your cycle, your symptoms, or your fertility journey, you are welcome here because your body isn't broken, it's communicating. So take a breath, get comfortable, and let's tune back into you.
Welcome to Inside the Apothecary. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Mel.
And today we're going to be unpacking everything you want to know about herbal medicine. So we are going to explain the history of herbal medicine, how herbs, how beautiful plants work in a medicinal format, what the difference is between the herbs that we use in our herbal medicine clinic and what you can purchase yourself from a supplement farm. We're going to go through traditional uses, modern uses, what do we even use? What does it even mean? We're going to unpack everything. So, Mel, why don't you kick us off and tell us what you love about herbal medicine?
Well, I'm really excited about this episode because this is something that is at the core of being a naturopath. We are all medical herbalists, and not all naturopaths practice in the form of liquid herbs anymore, which, breaks my heart because I love it. This is why, a lot of us get into it so we can mix the potions. We've got the witchy feels to us. We love kind of, making and creating and customizing for the person. So
Absolutely.
I love it because, I love the history of herbal medicine. This is the first medicine ever. People didn't have pharmaceuticals, they used plants. And I love that.
And they went to an apothecary, may I just say.
They did. Or, you know what? The apothecary came to them. I love that community aspect.
Yeah.
And the whole point, of herbal medicine and having these huge liquid dispensaries that you see behind us is so that, we can make it for you, whatever's going on for you. And then we can change it. This is dynamic medicine. You don't take the same herbal mix forever. It changes with you and where you're at in your life. So that's kind of why I, still do it. I still do it. We can give you supplements with herbs in them, but it's different in a liquid form. And we're going to really try and explain that as best we can in this episode.
Absolutely. Okay, so why don't we start by explaining how is a plant used medicinally? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, I guess let's take a really common, well-known plant and then explain the difference between how we would use it and how we would make it into medicine versus, you just kind of eating it every day. Something that is really commonly eaten and used every day is turmeric, right? Turmeric, there's ginger, there's cinnamon as well. So we are using some of the herbs and spices that are used in food. However, when we put it into one of these bottles, it has undergone a fairly extensive process to get to there. And that includes the right plant part. So every different plant we use has a different part that we use for the medicine. So, for example, if it's echinacea, we use the root, right? If it's there's other plants, we use the leaves, we use the herb, we use the flower. Every different plant.
Can I just say with echinacea, what I think is really funny is that I think people think it's the flowers. They see
do, because that's always what's pictured.
The iconic flower of echinacea. We don't even use the flowers. It's the roots, and they're really long roots that go into the ground that we use as well. Sorry. A little side note.
No, go interrupt. I'll just waffle with this because I just love it. With echinacea too, there's a certain age we need that root to be. So we don't pull that root out of the ground until it's at least 5 years old, because otherwise it's not medicine. It doesn't have the constituents, and the constituents are all the ingredients in that root that make it a medicine, and we need them to be at a certain level. So if you pull echinacea out at 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 years old, it's not going to have the same concentration of constituents. So this is just a minefield. This is just one example of one herb.
I feel like let's just break down a bit more about these active constituents, because I think this is like the core part of herbal medicine.
I know, it's going to be today.
So the part of a
It's
plant, the way that I think about this, right, is the
yeah.
part of the plant that does something medicinal is the
Mhm.
active constituents.
Mhm.
Now, in each plant, like Mel said, there are many, and some will cross over in different types of plant species that we
Yeah,
use,
I like that.
right? And then
Explain it
some
up.
are certain plant active constituents are the big ones that are the ones that really produce that medicinal quality.
Yeah.
Now, I think this ties in really well with the difference with the plants that we use for herbal medicine versus what you get in a supplement store and some brands, right?
Yeah.
So, our plants that we will use have had the active constituents standardized, which means there is a certain level and amount that they know needs to be in there to produce a clinical result, right? Now, those active constituents are listed on the bottles and the products that we use, the main ones that they are standardizing. Now, the difference with the supplements that you guys get, and often you are saying, well, I'm using whatever. When I look at it, they're not measuring that, they're not testing it, they're not standardizing it, let alone whether even using the right part of the
I was
plant,
gonna say,
right?
you can buy
So,
echinacea in a supplement that is the flower if that's what you like, but it's not gonna be
right?
medicine for you. It's not gonna do the
Absolutely.
things that we would use echinacea for. It's not gonna be immune
Absolutely.
modulating, it's not gonna be a lymphatic clearer, it's not gonna do all these wonderful things that we use echinacea for. And the thing that bugs me the
Absolutely.
most about that is that you pay money for it, you take it, you go to the effort of taking it, and you go, "Echinacea doesn't work."
Yes.
However,
And I hear that a lot.
if we go back to so you're saying our liquid herbs,
Mhm.
supplemental stuff for the most
Mhm.
part, maybe a little bit down,
Mhm.
and then we've got food. So,
Yes.
if I backtrack to my cinnamon, turmeric, ginger
Mhm.
scenario, sprinkling that on your food is very different to us giving you cinnamon or turmeric in a liquid herbal
Yep.
form or even some of our
Mm.
supplemental forms as well.
Yep.
Medicine versus food is a big one. It's great.
Yes.
You can definitely have cinnamon on
100%.
your food.
Use
That's
it as
awesome.
much as you want.
Eat the turmeric,
Go
eat the
for it.
ginger. But as you know, there's a difference between fresh ginger and powdered ginger, right?
Mhm.
So the extraction process that we use to get liquids, again, is very different and produces a
Mhm.
different amount of constituents. It gives us that therapeutic dose, so on and so
Mhm.
forth. So it is a bit of a minefield, right? You and I have studied for what, 10 years to do
Very
this?
long time.
And we're trying to break that down into one
Still
episode.
learning.
Yeah, still learning.
Yes.
We're trying
Mm.
to pound it into an episode for you guys. So sorry if we're a
Mm.
bit like, toot, 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 but we're
Mm.
just trying to explain why we give you really gross tasting liquid herbs for the most
Sorry
part.
about that.
And why sprinkling cinnamon or, maca root or ginger on your food maybe isn't going to be medicinal.
I think a good segue here is to talk a bit more about ashwagandha.
Love it. Let's do
Because
it.
it
Very
is
trendy,
it
very
is
popular.
very trendy, very popular because it ties in with the whole cortisol thing.
Yep.
But there's a lot that's really important to understand when it comes to ashwagandha. So first
Mm-hmm.
of all, naturopaths love to call it Withania somnifera, which is its botanical name rather than its Ayurvedic name, which has become very popular. Now, when it comes to ashwagandha, there is a specific part that we want to use. What is that part, Mel?
That's be the root.
It is the root and only the root. So lately, there had been some stuff in the media where people had issues with taking ashwagandha supplements.
Yeah.
The issue with ashwagandha supplements comes from a supplement that is using the leaves and the root.
Mm-hmm.
It is the leaves that cause problems. So
Yeah.
if first of all, you want to make sure that the supplement that you are having is root only, and it will say that on the back of the label. That's really important to understand when it comes to ashwagandha. And then, same thing. It's like with plants, there are plants and there are plants. Okay, I think this now ties in because I get really passionate about this. It ties in with going back to echinacea, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I love to explain this about echinacea because I think this is really important and really cool. Right,
Mm-hmm.
so I get really Girly
I'm the same.
passion.
And then my brain's like firing all over the place. And
Okay.
I'm like, tie it up,
All
Mel,
right.
tie it together.
Echinacea.
Yeah,
So,
hit me.
echinacea, there are quite a few different species.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them that are really popular is Echinacea purpurea and Echinacea angustifolia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is also really important to understand with herbal medicine is often the location around the world and the climate that it is grown is equally, if not more, important and in influencing the active constituents. So echinacea is a really good example because the Echinacea purpurea, she's not very fussy. She'll grow anywhere. No big deal, right? It's cool. She's cool, right? Not whatever. So she's quite cheap because the climate and the whatever is not that big a deal,
She's easy to
right?
grow.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, no big
Like
deal.
bananas in
Echinacea,
Queensland.
100%.
Yeah.
But Echinacea angustifolia, oh, she is fussy. She is picky and she is very temperamental. She only loves and really loves the climate of like North America. She loves it when it gets really cold and she
Yeah.
is very hard to grow. But the active constituent Echinacea is called the alkalamides.
Mm-hmm.
And they need that specific climate, that specific condition and soil to really get a standardized amount of those alkalamides to produce the clinical result that we're wanting.
Yeah.
So she's more expensive because
Yeah.
she's a fancy girl. She is a fancy, fancy girl. So it's different. So when you go and get your echinacea, and it doesn't even say what species, it doesn't even say anything else listed.
It says echinacea
You
flower. Or
you can
even worse, echinacea
understand
herb.
you
What
can
is echinacea herb?
understand our confusion and so therefore our
Frustration.
understanding that, well, frustration for sure as to, yeah, you know what? I'm not surprised that didn't really do anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So these things matter when you're using herbs as medicine,
Yeah.
which is what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Look, any
It's
farmer
totally different.
throughout any part of the world will know that you need the right climate, you need the right soil, you need the right conditions
Yep.
for that plant to thrive,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
You're going to get, gross apples if you don't grow them where they're happy. Nobody's going to buy them at Woolies. Like
Yep.
everyone knows if an apple's taste bad, you're not going to buy it again. Like
Mm.
it's really hard with herbal medicine because we have such a minefield. And how do you
Yep.
regulate that? Like how do you regulate what herb people are putting in their supplements? The dosage is often regulated, but it needs
Yep.
to be the dosage of the right thing,
Yes.
And now access to supplements and herbs is so open. So we are ordering stuff from all over the world, and every country has different rules on this stuff as well.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a minefield. And, we just want you to have, like you and I want people to get the results because we don't want a bad rap. We don't want echinacea to get a bad rap. And we want to make sure people are getting the right medicine, like that's actually going to work.
So this is why sometimes when you come and see a naturopath, what we give you, what we do, that's why we love for you to come and see us, is because we know we're going to give you the right form, the right dose, and the specific amount that you need to get the results that you're after, rather than you just kind of flying blind and buying whatever and just hoping and praying for the best. It's
think
very different.
Yeah, so different. And I think it's really important to mention, go back to your root and leaf being put together in withania.
Yeah.
The really interesting thing about that is, when we make our withania in a bottle behind me, we just use the root. So the rest of the plant, it's available and it will be very cheap. And so often the prices of these supplements, they're going to be lower, but it's because they're using, cheaper parts of the plant that aren't necessarily going to be medicinal or help you out. And they put a little bit of the root in, but they're filling it with the other parts of the plant because that's how they get the
And
supplement.
what is also really crazy, and I think this is just because you and I have a good understanding of the herbal medicine industry, is there's so much adulteration that goes on as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, when we use these MediHerb herbs behind us, they often will receive herbs in and they'll get bags of herbs and they test it before it's even allowed in the lab to test its purity. And you'll get a couple of slightly different species of plants. And you know what? To the average person, it looks the same.
It looks
But
the
when
same,
you
it
get
smells
it
the same, it tastes the same.
when you get it under that microscope, you realize it's not the same. And
Yeah.
so it's all sent back
Or
and
when
not
you assay the
approved.
constituents, you know? So there's
Yeah.
multiple like levels of testing that we do throughout the entire
Yes.
process of creating that liquid behind you,
Mm.
you know, that ensures that we've got the right thing and that it's
Yeah.
maintaining its constituents throughout, you know, the process and to its expiry as well.
But, there's a lot of dodgy companies out there, and it's really sad to say, but because there is a lot of money building in this industry, they will do whatever they can try and do to be able to get these inferior products to market. But that's where, because we're so particular with the brands that we work with naturopaths, we know the ethics of these companies and how strict they are and rigorous with their testing, that we know that what we're giving you is really pure. And
And you
that's
know what?
really important.
Sometimes it's been through multiple hands as well. So they will think that
Mm.
they're selling us St. John's wort of, you know, the right
Yep,
form, but
yep.
where the farmer that they got it from, or the one before that, or the, you know, wherever it's
Mm,
come from, it's
yeah,
just been through too many hands, or people have added to it because it's on weight, right? So they get
yes.
some beautiful St. John's wort and then they add other crap in,
Yep.
so that they have more to sell. Yeah. So
Mm,
yeah, we use the liquids because the way that they extract them is
mm,
it gives us this purity and this beautiful
mm,
ability to standardize the constituents. It's a
mhm.
little bit more difficult in a supplement. The
Yes.
dosage isn't going to be the same. So if you think of a
Mm,
supplement, right, there's a limited amount of space in a
mhm.
capsule. So
Yep.
often with liquid herbs, we've got better dosages. We've
Mhm.
got more customizability, like we can
Mm,
individualize it better. But also, you have synergy. And I'd love to
mm,
talk about synergy. Would you like to talk
mhm.
about synergy?
Yeah, look, this is where it's so funny. Someone asked me the other day when I was kind of making up some herbs in front of I think I had like a mother and daughter sitting in front of me, and she was asking me about like, what am I thinking about? Like, because she could see I was like deep in thought when I was sort of formulating.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, if I break this down for you, it's going to seem crazy, but I just do it like off the top of my head. I don't even think about it. So, when it comes to herbs, we know there are certain herbs that love each other and there's a
Mhm,
beautiful synergy. But then there's another aspect. Synergy is so complex, right? But then there's another aspect where some herbs have an energetic that's cooling and an energetic that's warming. And so sometimes what you're also thinking about is the synergy of that and what energetics you're trying to convey to that client. What are they needing, for
mm.
example? So I think it's so much more. And then, oh my God, this is like, this is so
It's
exciting.
juicy, isn't it? Oh.
I know. So we know that some herbs, like depending on what we're doing, right? So I know if I'm trying to lower testosterone, I have a winning combo of like chase tree, peony, and licorice. I know that synergy is a winner. I know, and this is just through time, years of doing this in the
Mhm,
industry, like this knowledge being passed down to us. We
mhm.
know through testing, we know this about different herbs and this how certain herbs work together. Wouldn't you say?
Holy Trinity. It's the Holy Trinity.
It really is the Holy Trinity,
PCOS,
that's for
yep,
sure.
yep,
Yeah, it's
definitely.
so funny.
And it is, it's that
So
traditional wisdom, like you said, it's been
yeah,
passed down, but we have that clinical stuff to also back
yeah,
us up now. We see that it works
yeah,
time and time and time again, not just in our practice,
yeah.
but in
Mm.
the trials as well that we do.
Yes. Yeah. And I think what's great is just there is so much evidence-based research has come out now about herbs. And
Yep.
I don't think there's really many on my shelf now that don't have any kind of actual studies done on them,
Yeah,
which is fantastic
so good.
and really amazing. But one thing I was just thinking about when we're talking about individualization with herbs, right, is
Mm,
I often like to mention to my clients that when it comes to herbal medicine, because we have so many, right? There's a big range. And so there's a big range in how we can personalize this stuff. And what
mhm,
I like to say to people is when we come to periods, right, and say bleeding, amount of bleeding, I have herbs for girls where it's moderately heavy versus herbs where it's flooding bleeding.
yep.
And so I can choose the range of those herbs that I put in the mix depending on what your symptoms are like, right? It's the same thing with energy. I have herbs for the mama that's exhausted because her kid is waking her up all night and she's not slept versus chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, no energy level. So, depending on what we need, I can pull from that big spectrum of herbs and customize it for you specifically. And I love that range, and I'll never get that range from supplements ever.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I really, really love. And not only that, sorry, just because I'm on a and
No, go
I'm
for it.
all
Go for
excited.
it. Please.
So, with each herb, what I also love to explain to everybody, right, is with each herb, there is a dosage range per week to produce a
Mhm.
clinical result.
Mhm.
So, what I'm working out is okay, I want this bottle to last 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. Then I work out what that dosage range is per week. But
Mhm.
then I kind of go, what is the priority of this herb? So, say, for example, they're really crazy heavy bleeding, right? Or their fatigue is so intense. I'm going to dial up that herb and make it a priority versus having it at a more minimal dose in there, but
Mhm.
still a dose that's enough to produce a clinical result. So the way that we play around with it within the formula, and like Mel said, each time we see you, we can tweak it. So
Mhm.
sometimes I might get a new blood test or something has kind of been a bit, I've not quite got the result I want. So next time I'm like, all right, I'm going to up the ante of that herb
Yeah,
to give you a better result to match more of the line of what we're kind of wanting to do with you,
for
which is
sure.
very exciting.
I love it.
I know, it gets me so
You
excited.
you and I both do quite a lot of liquids, and
Yes.
like I said, some naturopaths don't do that anymore, and, it
Yeah,
is, like, a little bit more time consuming. However, it is really affordable compared to supplements to do liquids, I think,
I think so.
and I didn't know when I became a naturopath that I was gonna have to do all this mathematics, I gotta tell you.
Oh my God, me either. Holy moly.
But I
Definitely
literally
not.
can only do herbal math. That's all I can do.
Yeah,
I can't
I'm
do
probably
regular
the
math.
same. Yeah. But I think as well, it's with so whenever I get
Excuse
people
me.
in front of me and I say, have you seen a naturopath before? And if they say yes, my follow-up question is, did they ever give you liquid herbs? And so often the answer is no. And it really
Yeah,
makes me sad. It really does. It makes me sad. And then it kind of makes me think, well, that's probably might be why you didn't get the results that you were after.
yeah.
Because in a herbal mix, right, this is what's cool. In one bottle, we can be addressing your hormones, addressing your energy, calming your nervous system. We could be supporting your liver,
We can
all of that stuff.
support, like,
You
iron
could
deficiency,
100%. We
blood
could
building tonics.
mood, everything, but in
Yep,
one bottle.
gut.
So you're taking one thing that has all those different actions all at the same time, which is
Mhm.
very in line with how we treat you as a
Yep,
whole person,
definitely. And
right?
if
And
we
that's
take
that
a step
naturopathic way.
back to synergism for a second,
Mm.
the most
Mhm.
beautiful, like, so synergism, I think of it like a catalyst, right? So we
Mhm.
we we might synergize the Holy Trinity. We know that licorice,
Mhm.
peony, chase tree love each other. They work really well together. And we
Mhm.
often will see in a clinical trial that those three work better together than on their own
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
let's come back to mushrooms, for example. But
Mhm.
the other thing is we have herbs that are literally synergists, you know?
Mm.
So things
Mm.
like ginger,
Mm.
and they're very small
Mhm.
dose. Ginger,
Yes.
rosemary, like, so we might
Yep.
put 5 or 10% in the whole
Mm.
mix, and it will
Mm.
bring all the herbs together. And the way that I
Yep.
always learnt it from my mentors is that synergist will allow the herbs to get to where they need to go. So it will help them
Mm.
all come together. It's
Yep.
like the friend who brings, when a friend comes to a party and they bring other friends from other friend groups, and they're like,
Mm.
"You guys can all play together." Rather than
Mm.
you just
Mhm.
inviting your friends from this
Mm.
particular group. It's
Mm.
like, let's all get together and really make this party awesome.
Mm.
That's what a synergist will
Mm.
do. And so we have the ability to not
Yeah.
just put those herbs in that are gonna hit the big notes for people, but then tie it all together.
Mm.
And, I always talk about herbs having multiple actions, right?
Yep.
Ginger, for example, it's gonna be warming, right? So if
Mm.
you have cold hands and feet,
Mhm.
if your blood's not circulating very well, if your
Mm.
gut is a bit
Mhm.
stagnant, we put that ginger in and it's gonna have its own beautiful therapeutic effect.
Mm.
The
Mhm.
other thing I wanted to talk to you about is, yes, we have that dosage range on our herb
Mm.
bottles, but people still get results with drop doses.
Yes, that's so true. That is
You
true.
and
Yeah, you're right.
you and I practice therapeutically. We often will practice with that high dose, that high-end
Mm,
dose, but
mm.
I was trained drop dose by my mentor, and I still use
Oh,
that
were
all
you?
the time. Yeah,
Ah, that's so
yeah,
cool.
and
Yeah, I
that
didn't know that
works.
about you.
I respond better to drop dose than therapeutic dose.
Oh, you can give me a bucket of herbs, I'm fine. I need
See,
the
I don't work like that. I'm a sensitive creature. You know me.
Yeah, but when people do say that level of sensitivity, when because it's often a topic that will come up, right? Is I'll ask people how they respond to caffeine, how
Yep,
you with
or other
smells,
drugs,
whatever.
pain
Yeah,
relief,
and
that
when
kind of
people
thing.
say they're very sensitive, I'll often drop the dose right back
But
and
that
start
means
really slow.
we can fit more herbs in as well.
That's
And
true.
it will
That's
last them
true.
heaps longer. Drop dosage
Mm,
has always been a way to have extended life for those herbs as well.
mm,
So instead of
mm,
lasting them 4 or 6 weeks, it might last for 15 weeks.
mm,
So we have
mm.
this amazing ability to just, again, we're not just
Yeah,
individualizing and customizing herbs. We are doing the dosage. We're doing
yeah.
so many other things. Like it's really made for that person.
Yeah, you're right. I wasn't even thinking about the drop dose. Yeah, one of my clients was so sensitive. I think I started her off on like 5 drops or something. And we slowly, over
Build
like
it
a year,
up.
got her up
Yeah.
to like 5 mils.
Hmm.
But the thing is, she still gets great results on
Yeah.
those drops.
Yeah,
Like,
I
and
love
that's
using
what
drop
just
doses.
blows
Sorry.
my mind.
With my
Absolutely blows
kids
my
as well.
mind.
Like with my
Yeah.
own children and my patients, drop dose work
Mm,
amazing for kids. And then they don't have to palate the whole high dose either. So if people
yeah.
do find, let's talk taste, herbs taste gross.
Mm,
There's no
yeah,
wrapping
we
that
know that.
up in
No,
beautiful wrapping
no.
paper. They
With a
do
bow.
taste gross. Mhm.
Hmm.
So
Sorry about
if
that.
in Australia especially, I think our palate is not very good at bitter. We don't have a whole lot of
Mm,
bitter, says you
yeah.
while you drink your black coffee.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
um,
fine.
you're fine. You
I'm
and
fine.
I are well adjusted to bitter taste buds. Like ours will
Yeah, that's
be
true.
banging. But for most everyday Australians, they don't have a whole lot of bitter in their diet. So herbs are a
Yeah.
huge shock because most of them are
Yep.
quite bitter and that's their medicinal kind of use. Like that's their medicinality.
Yep.
So in terms of taste, what are you
Mm.
doing? What are your tips? What do you tell your patients?
So, yeah, so firstly, never on an empty stomach,
Love it.
right? Never on an empty stomach. You have to dilute them. You can't have them straight. So say if I holding up a little medicine cup here, if I
Mhm.
give you 5 mils, I'll say, top it up with a bit of water or juice,
Mhm.
shot it down, but have something ready to chase it with.
Mhm.
So if you want, I have diluted it with pineapple juice. I find works quite
Yep.
well.
Apple
Coconut
blackcurrant
water.
too.
Oh yeah, not
Yep.
orange. I find orange juice
No,
is
orange
weird.
yucky. Yucky.
Orange is weird. You need that sweetness to it.
Mm.
You can also put a little bit of honey in it and dissolve. I like that trick.
Mhm.
Then the other trick I really like is to get like a teaspoon of peanut butter or something like that.
Oh,
Have a little
yeah.
bit of the teaspoon, shot the herbs, and have the rest of the teaspoon of honey of the
Yeah, I
peanut
love
butter
that.
because it coats your mouth,
Yeah.
so you kind of don't notice it. Or hold your nose or a straw. I've
Some
got
people
so many.
do
I've
some of
got
my
so many
patients do,
ticks.
like, warm water, hot water, or really cold water too, so the temperature thing can sometimes trick your little brain.
Ah, that's funny. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but the most important thing is your taste buds will adjust. People find
I
it
always
easier.
say it's the first week. It's the first
Yeah.
week's the worst, and
Yeah.
then you kind of start to accept it, and you
Yeah,
know.
and because often it works, so people don't care.
Yeah,
After the first week or
yeah.
2, they go, "Well, it works, so why would I
And
not take it?"
I think with herbs, I always like to say there are levels of the bad taste.
Yeah,
And, a lot of the hormonal stuff is kind of middle level.
yeah,
Like it's kind of not too bad. I think it gets worse when we do acute cold and flu stuff,
yeah, if we're trying to
right?
kill something,
And then the
yeah,
worst of the worst is the parasitic, the
mhm,
worms, the bad stuff we're trying to kill.
mm, and that comes
I
down
ch-
to the constituents. Bring it back,
Totally.
if
Yeah,
you have the
100%.
right amount of constituents to kill a parasite, it's gonna be
Yep.
bitter. Ugh,
Yeah, and
it's
look,
gonna be
I
gross.
say to every if I could try and do them in tablets or capsules, I will. But when it's really bad and I've had a really bad case in front of me, I've said to them,
Mhm,
I said, look, I really do think we need to use liquids. these clients are honestly at a point where they're like, I don't care. I just want to
Yeah.
get rid of it. Help me.
Yeah.
And so, and we do it and we get those results because they're so effective. And can I also just say what I was also just thinking about in
Mm.
terms of liquids versus, supplement form, liquids seem to work so much faster,
Quicker,
so
for
much
sure.
faster. And it's
Yeah.
so funny because when Tony joined our team, because she'd been working overseas a lot as a naturopath, so she hadn't
Mm,
been using liquids for ages
mhm.
just because of availability. And when she started using liquids again, she was like, oh my God, I forgot. I miss
Mm.
how fast they work.
Yes. Yep,
They
yep, yep.
just work so much faster. And
Yep.
ultimately, if you guys are coming and seeing us and it's expensive and it's an investment, I want you guys to feel like you are getting a result quite quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
I want you to feel some difference. And that's why when you do have a follow up with us, I'll go through everything again and be like, okay, so, how is your sleep? All right, well, last time you said it was like this, but now you're saying it's like this because we want to know exactly the impact that these herbs are having on you. So, therefore, like we were saying before, we can tweak it
Yeah, then
and
we
go
can
from there.
adjust.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Talk to me about
Um,
mixing, right? Oh, yeah?
yes.
Sorry.
Oh, no, no, go. No, no, go.
When you and I mix. So there are, I think when you first study and get out, there's some trial and error in terms of mixing.
For sure.
And this
Yeah.
relates back to palatability, right? So you and
Mm-hmm.
I have been in this game a little while now, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like you do develop a sense of, mixing that does allow your patients to take it as well. Like, so, you're not going to go full strength oregano with full strength wormwood with full strength thuya. You're not gonna do
Yeah.
that to someone. That's gonna
Mm-hmm. No.
clove. Oh my gosh. So
No.
we buffer it, right? We
Yeah.
mix it so that
Yeah.
people can take it, and that's a skill. I just wanna call that out
Yeah.
because that's a real skill that we've developed over time.
100%. And I think as well, like, because I know in the beginning, when you're first a naturopath, I feel like it took me a long time to put together a herbal formula.
Yeah.
Like, because there's so many things to think about,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so I feel like it used to just take me ages to formulate those
Yeah,
herbs. Whereas now I just do it on the spot. I don't
totally.
even like it just it like I've got I think in our dispensary, I reckon there's at least 180 if not 200 plus herbs now.
Cool. Very
And
cool.
it's on the spot. I'm not
Yeah.
even thinking about it now.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it's really complex. And if I ever have to like extrapolate all the thoughts that are in my brain, it is really complex.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
But I
you
just
know
don't even
what?
think about it.
Go backwards. I taught herbal medicine for a few years, and when
Oh
you have to
yeah.
then teach that, oh my gosh.
Mm.
I had to try and, like, pull that out of this whole crazy section here and be like, this is how I do it, and teach that. It's so difficult, and I have students in my clinic all the time, and you take for granted what you know, and you take
Mm.
for granted
Yeah.
what you've learned and how you've kind of,
Mm.
how your process has evolved over time. And they would go back
Totally.
to, you write the herb, you write the dosage range, you write your per 100
Mm.
mil, and then you times it by 2 or you times it by 5. And it's just so beautiful to go back to that and see, how far we've
Yeah.
come because we are what
Mm.
you would probably call senior clinicians if we were in
Mm.
another allied health role.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. We love
Mm.
it. We love our herbs.
Um, we sure do. I was actually just thinking one of the cool things I also wanted us to touch on is traditional uses of
Mhm.
herbs.
Mhm.
Um, because I think this is awesome. And I love this part, right? This is what kind of Mel was saying about how, which she thinks before kind of come from being witches and
Mhm.
medicine women. And this is how this all evolved as being the medicine women in your community.
Yeah.
And one way that I love to be able to support women with herbal medicine is during birth and postpartum,
Yeah.
right?
Beautiful.
And I really think this is how women have been supporting women for hundreds of years,
Thousands,
right?
actually.
Yeah. And
Yep.
I
It's
think
a
this
perilla.
part, right? So when we have
Teasel root's been
herbs,
used for thousands of years. Keep going.
right? This is what's really cool, right? So some of these herbs, like teasel root, for example, has steep traditional usages in helping to
Mhm.
prevent women from frequent miscarriages.
Yep.
And that use that's amazing. And the fact that we're still supporting women in that way, but now we have the clinical data to back that up
Yeah.
is fantastic. right? So that's one beautiful way that we could do it. And then, yeah, surrounding birth and postpartum, I think is amazing. And so, one thing we always love to do is to provide our clients. So, we do full pregnancy support. So, it's not
Mhm.
just once we get you pregnant, then that's it.
See
We
you later.
support you the whole way, right? Because, firstly,
Yeah.
we want to get you across that 12-week, right? So, we're all good. Because a lot of women have come in to see us for very complex fertility histories, and that might include, some losses in the past. So we want to do everything we can, and we have a lot in our power to be able to make sure that implantation and that beautiful uterus is going to be doing everything we can to hold on to that beautiful baby. And then, but then we're kind of just in your team then as well, right? If anything
Mm.
crops up during your pregnancy. But then when we get down to the point again, when we start talking labor and delivery, it is so exciting. And those birth prep tonics that we put together, oh, they made me so happy. And I love it. And I think this is our way of getting in front of the fact that a lot of medical professionals really push for and they're having that conversation early about, induction, about trying to medicalize something which is just so beautiful and so natural. So us setting you up on these, birth tonics, which we start at a very certain time, it doesn't bring on labor, but what
Mm-mm.
it does is it gets your body ready so that
Yep.
when it's time to go, it is time to go. None of this long 3-day long labor situation. It just helps your body to do what it innately wants to do. And I just
Yeah.
think that is so special. And we use these beautiful herbs for that purpose as well.
Well,
What do
teasel
you think?
roots thousands of years for not just recurrent miscarriage, but also pregnancy disorder. So there's a
Mm,
few phases, right? We want to get you pregnant for sure,
mm,
but we want to get you pregnant with the healthiest pregnancy that we possibly
mm.
can, and
Yeah.
then the healthiest birth and labor and healthiest baby.
Mm-hmm,
Because the whole point is to give that baby the best kind of health for their life as well.
mm,
And we want to minimize your complications during pregnancy and we want to minimize your complications during labor as much as we can. It doesn't always work out, like for
yeah.
sure, but we'll do our best. And we have, like, not just that traditional evidence, which is so, so valuable.
Mm,
If you have used a certain thing for thousands of years, you're going to assume it's effective. Like, you know what
yeah.
I mean? People aren't using it for no
Mm,
reason. And
yeah.
then we have all this clinical stuff now to show us that it works on the immune system to stop it
Yeah.
attacking the embryo. Like,
Mm-hmm,
amazing. That it
yeah.
downregulates your inflammatory cytokines. Like,
Mm,
it's unbelievable the things that we can, now
mm,
study
mm,
to show us why that herb has been used for
mm,
thousands of years.
mm,
And if you go back to that traditional use in terms of the wise woman, the medicine woman, we
mm-hmm,
would go into communities and teach the head, the family head, the woman of each family how to do this so that they
mm,
could then do it for their daughter, so they could then do it for their neighbor. And how to treat common colds. And this actually ties back to where the plant is from because
mm,
we have the knowledge now that people would use plants from their particular climate to do all these different
mm,
things. We're spoiled. We get plants from all over the world now. But
mm,
traditionally you would use the plants in the garden, to
mm,
to do all of this work. So it's really like an honor. It's so
mm,
special that we have all of this knowledge now and we can look back and see all that traditional use, but then also have
mm,
all of this clinical evidence to know that what we're doing is safe. Because this used to be a risky business.
mm,
We can do
mm,
everything that we do, and then things sometimes still don't work out. So,
mm.
yeah, it's nice to have all that backup.
But I think that's medicine in general, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, and healthcare in general. But yeah, I think having that knowledge and understanding in terms of the real like biochemistry of all of these different plants and that
Mhm.
knowledge and understanding of how they work has just been such a game changer,
Definitely.
which is so cool because now we're kind of like, oh, that's why it does that.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's what we
Cool.
love. We love that information. We're hungry for it. You and I, we're always studying, we're always
Mm,
learning. It never stops. Just
no,
quickly,
mm.
what's that?
I was going to say you don't become a naturopath, and then you're like, and I'm done.
Yeah. Tick. The thing that I just wanted to finish on quickly too is this is
Mm,
one component of what we do, right?
one.
as a
Yes.
naturopath, you are generally also, a bunch of other stuff, whether you choose to be a homeopath, whether you choose to be a nutritionist, whether you
Mhm.
choose to be, I don't know, are you an iridologist? I don't even know.
Yeah, technically, yes.
So we read the
Yes.
iris. Some of us are also massage therapists. Like you can go and do all these other
Mm,
components, but for
mm,
the most part, we are all working with herbal medicine, supplemental
mhm.
medicine, and nutrition.
Yes.
The nutritional medicine doesn't always come from food.
Mm,
Interestingly, you and I do a
mm.
lot of compounding of nutrients
Yes,
as well.
absolutely.
So,
Mm,
like our herbal medicine, mixing it from the bottles behind us, we actually mix certain nutrients together as well.
mhm, mhm.
That could be a whole other episode on its own, but I
I
just
think
wanted to
so.
touch on this
Mm,
being one component of what we do for
yeah,
people.
yes,
Just so cool.
absolutely. I think of, like, naturopathy as like an umbrella term.
Yeah, yeah, I
Right?
like that.
And then, that's the umbrella. And so part of it could be, yeah, homeopathy, iridology, nutrition, all the different arms of the umbrella as to kind of what we do.
Yep.
And also just the breadth of like what we can help with as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's really cool. And yeah, we both just love it so much and we're so passionate. And so that's
Well,
why we're so excited about
I
being
know.
able to share
I
this
think
with you all.
I think they will be able to tell that we are passionate. So if there's one thing that, our listeners can take away from today, put you on the spot,
Hmm.
what do you reckon?
Hmm.
Sum it up.
A herb is not a herb, and
Love it.
the type of the plant and where it comes from does make a really big difference. But herbal medicine is incredibly impactful on your health.
I love that.
Mm,
Well,
yeah,
thanks so much
yeah,
for listening, everyone,
yeah.
to Inside the Apothecary. And we're going to see you for our next episode really soon.
Can't wait. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for being here with us today. If something in this episode resonated, just know there's always a way to explore it further and support your body the way it needs. You can find out more by going to the website nourishingapothecary.com or reach out if you're ready for more personalised care. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep listening to your body.